Hello, good afternoon. This is Nousheen Mukhtar, your usual host for the live talk show. And my today's guest is Suzette Salandy. She's joining us from the United States, and we're going to talk about the HR practices and how the world has changed after COVID-19. A little bit more than that. So we're going to talk about you, and we're also going to talk about the problems that we see in the market, and we're also going to crack jokes. And if you don't like them, you can tell me later on, not during the chat.
Got it.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So nice to be here with you on your show and to catch up and just kind of talk about the marketplace because I'm always talking about the marketplace. So let's do it.
I know. All right. So Suzette, we have the Stylfemina talks to make sure that women who are change makers, women who are making an impact, women who are playing a very active role in contributing towards economic, social, personal, professional development on all grounds are with us, are talking, are sharing experiences, and are enlightening people. We make light of talks because we want people to enjoy and relate to what we do. So the best part about Stylfemina talks is women from all walks of life are going to join us, like yourself, and we will have casual conversations. And I'm sure that these casual conversations are going to add value to other people's lives because we are technically sharing a lot of experiences. How are you today? And how is
I'm
life in the
great.
US?
Life in the US right now is good. It's summertime.
Uh-huh.
So we are excited now that we are experiencing some nice warm weather, not as hot as you in Dubai, but it's our summer right now. So it's good. Lots of barbecues, getting out, people are happy to be out and about since the COVID era is over. So it's a good time right now to just get out.
Yes, in Dubai today is very hot, honestly. Anyways, so yes, as an HR professional, you've been serving for as many years as you've told me. And I was very excited to read your interview in Stylefemina magazine. So moving forward, I'd like to know how is the environment like in human resource sector? And what are some of the challenges faced by human resource managers at the moment?
So that's a great question. After COVID, things shifted, right? Here in the US, we experienced what they call the Great Resignation. People either retired and decided they would go do something different, or just, quality of life for many was shifted. With COVID, a lot of folks had to work remotely because we were not going into an office building, and that somewhat became a realization that they can be productive working from home. So now people are looking for more of that opportunity as far as working from home and not really wanting to come back into an office. So companies are now faced with, what do we do? Do we offer 100% work from home, or maybe have people come in 1 or 2 days a week, or, in some cases, offer a different benefit because companies need you to come into the office? On the flip side of that, individuals are looking for different things, not just compensation, but flexibility, benefits that show a little bit more of the investment in the well-being of the employee, their mental health, because we realized that, a lot of people were faced with focusing on self-care, mental health. So I would summarize it and say that companies now have to think outside the box of what type of benefits are they going to offer to their employees. And I would say that is globally, not just in the United States.
Yes, in the UAE as well, a lot of professionals are hunting similar opportunities where there is more flexibility, they have lesser working days, and they can avail work from home opportunities. But on a larger scale, majority of the workforce is back to offices. Life is pretty much normal the way it was before. So yes, for the UAE, it's slightly different. There is a lot of talent in the market these days. A lot of people are here looking for jobs, right kind of jobs, jobs that pay well, And some of them are facing challenges in hunting. So I think it has been there through and through. Like people been looking for jobs, not finding the right kind, struggling, long search, many issues. They are just as they are. So tell me more about your work, my dear. As an HR professional, how do you help organizations? How have you been able to make change possible?
So that's a great question. And you're talking about talent in the UAE. In the US, I think that what we have is we have talent that is now getting the opportunity to decide where they want to work and to look at their career. My role in HR has been over the years to work with organizations on restructuring, redesign, sitting with leaders, coaching them on how to lead effectively, working on helping them to hire good talent in their organization. My philosophy around talent is we need to invest in talent. So a lot of times when we hire talent, there seems to be some concern around growth and opportunity. And not everybody can be promoted up the ladder. There's not always a space based on the design of a company that everybody gets to be a vice president. But what can you do in other ways to develop that talent so that they don't leave? What can you, project wise, teach them, have them work on different things, see other opportunities, not just from a promotion standpoint. So working with leaders on thinking about talent and developing talent, and more importantly, making sure that you build a talent bench so that when leaders are leaving the organization, they have people in-house that can become, the replacement in those roles. A lot of times we have gaps in that we hire talent in and they're not ready to step into roles when we have certain levels leaving the organization. So right now it's how do you bridge that gap to not necessarily have to go find people when you've hired people in that are almost ready to step into the role. So it's learning how to hire talent that will be ready in 4 years, 5 years. So we do the talent development, but we also do once a year, sort of looking at talent in terms of who's ready now, who's ready in 4 years, because leadership will be evolving and you want to make sure that you have people who are ready within that timeline. Because if you don't work on that, people will not see the opportunity and they're going to leave.
Yes, obviously. And even if you end up hiring someone who's not accurately fit for the job, it's going to be troublesome for the individual as well as for the organization. So certainly, I'm sure that you have been working efficiently towards in empowering people and empowering leaders. So coming to the coaching part, when did you start as a coach and what was the major goal?
So, when I came into the HR field, I found myself sort of organically coaching managers in terms of just asking them questions as far as their goals and what their expected outcome, and serving as that facilitator, and then ultimately helping them to sort of work towards the expectation for themselves and for the employee. Also on the employee side, really trying to understand what motivates an employee and helping a manager to manage effectively in terms of you don't manage everyone the same. So how does one help a manager do that? It's just really having an opportunity to create a communication platform for the manager, where the manager can have those one-on-one conversations. And to one of the most important things is to listen. Listen not to respond, but listen to understand. And I always talk about the start, stop, continue process. So manager, what are you going to start doing differently? What are you going to stop doing and what are you going to continue doing? And likewise with the employee, so that there's a clear understanding of how they need to assess, to adjust, and to advance. So as a coach, I think it started pretty early for me, seeing the dynamics of, managers and leaders. And there's a difference between the two. Some people excel more as leaders in terms of how they step out and lead. And then there are managers who don't necessarily lead, they manage more tasks than they do people, and they're comfortable with that. So, in my role as a coach, it was realizing how to, assess those types of scenarios and work accordingly with those individuals. I enjoy the coaching piece. I do think it's important to really sort of help leaders solve the situation as opposed to providing them with a solution. It's nothing greater than watching a leader have their own aha moment and making the move to better themselves and to lead more effectively.
That's very true. Yes. Like you said, that all managers have to be first better listeners. They have to reach a point of understanding before they continue towards talent development and towards finding solutions. What other communication strategies do you recommend for leaders and managers?
So the communication strategies should always be in the different forms of communication that you need to realize for the culture in which you're in. Sometimes it's good to do an email. Sometimes it's good to do a town hall where you're talking in person. Sometimes it's important to do one-on-ones. It's really understanding the pulse of where things are, especially if you're going to give news that's going to bring uncertainty. You must make sure that your communication provides a sense of comfortable, that the people are comfortable, that they understand what the goal is or what the mission is, if it's changing, whatever it is, the message that you're telling as a leader, the way that you communicate that message for the people to understand is important. I think that a leader should try to have what I call open door policy, where people should feel connected to you, where they can feel like they can stop and ask a question. And certainly a leader should be communicating as often as possible so that you understand that people are somewhat connected, in whatever it is you're doing. Anyone who is leading should make sure that the people are in tune. They understand the playbook, which is the strategy. They're following along because you can't lead if you're not leading the people. So I think communication has to take three forms, and from every now and again, just do a check-in in one-on-ones or as a large group. Yeah.
Yes. So difficult conversations was the keyword I picked when you were telling us about communication. In my career as a business leader, I found it very difficult to convey the most difficult feedback and to disclose the most difficult news to my team. What are some of the best ways to make difficult conversations easy? I know a leader's role for becoming an approachable person plays a very good strategy in this, but apart from becoming approachable, what else can we do to make sure difficult conversations are made easy?
Yeah, so difficult conversations, if it's pertaining to one individual, should always be in a one-on-one setting where certainly you as the leader who's going to give that message, make sure that you are focused and that you are not interrupted, because you want to make sure that you spend that intimate time with that person to let them know what it is that they need to work on. Using words like, opportunity, we have an opportunity for you to do better. Here are some areas where I think you can improve, and starting off with the positive first before you get into this is what you're doing wrong, or here's where you need to improve. The other thing is when you talk about, I want to invest in you, I want to help you sharpen your skills, I want to see you win, I don't think that someone will interpret that as a negative. It's really about the languaging in which you convey the message. Certainly giving that consistent feedback. So I always tell my leaders, do not wait until the end of the year when you have to do a review to let a person know they're not doing well. try to have those in time conversations of when you see something going wrong, to set the alert and say, hey, what's going on? I see a shift in your performance. I see you doing this differently. How can I be of support to you? So you are making them aware, as opposed to sort of piling things up and then waiting until you have that, conversation where it's now a snowball effect, right? And it's very
Yes.
overwhelming for both you and for the person that you're delivering the message to. So start with the small bites of what's changing, be able to speak to it, and provide an atmosphere where your language is sounding more of you're coaching them versus you're reprimanding them.
I like that. Yes. It's very important to build that relationship where you can easily talk to them about things that are not working well, and you can guide them instead of waiting till the end of the year, because then it's going to be more difficult. You will have a big mounting pile of monthly issues that you'll have to convey, and then the difficult conversation will become overwhelming.
Yeah, and don't do it out of frustration. That's the one other piece I will add is don't speak to someone when you're frustrated, right? Because, sometimes people wait until things pile up. And then when you're speaking to them, you're frustrated because you're under stress. The environment is calling for things to get done, and so that behavior that you demonstrate, is not the type of behavior that one wants to receive that type of feedback. So those are good watch outs for. I say do it early and do it in the moment when you can do it comfortably without being frustrated.
Yes, very true. Thank you for sharing this. So in your career, what has been one very interesting incident that you can share with us today? Something that we can enjoy listening to.
Well, there's always interesting incidents in the world of HR, right? People ask me that all the time. But my favorite incident is when I see people make a turnaround, when I see a leader improves. I had a leader that used to tell people that they could go work at McDonald's if they didn't like it here. And I would say, don't say that. And and we used to laugh about it, but truly he would say, and the way he would do it, it was somewhat funny, but I taught him how to have a little bit more patience with people and not tell them, McDonald's is hiring, right? Because he was old school leadership, right? So, sometimes it's hard to shift those leaders that are from the old school. I also like leaders who are passionate, but sometimes they're passionate in the wrong way. So you have to teach them how to be passionate in the right way, there's a lot of fun stories with those passionate leaders who tend to, write in caps when they send an email, or they, start talking with the hands and stuff like that. And you're like, okay, wait a minute, let's slow it down. It's just really working with different personalities. I remember a leader who he felt so bad he had to terminate someone. And he said to me, can I take him out for a drink later? And I said, you can't do that. You just fired him. He doesn't want to see you. He doesn't want to talk to you. That's not a good thing to do. But, it's those type of stories where you see the human side of, managers and leaders who, truly don't want to do some of the things they have to do, but, sometimes it's not a good fit, and so, I appreciated that he did want to at least reach out and say, I'm sorry this didn't work out, but if you ever need me, I'm here for you. Yeah.
Yes, that's nice. Okay, now we flip it. How about all those people who write hate letters to their bosses?
The hate letters, that's going to come with the territory. People are going to leave companies and not be happy. Certainly those hate letters can't come from people who are still at the company, at least I hope. But that's really where you need to understand the culture that you're creating, right? And that's why I say you need to really always be communicating, always make sure that the mission and the vision is clear, because if the people aren't on board, that's the kind of reaction that you're going to get. And as leaders, you're going to be faced with those percent of the population that are naysayers and kind of muddy the waters, right? So your goal is to hire people and create an environment of a culture of positivity. And that's where the managers also come into play when they're managing individuals like that, to realize not just about the skills, but about the behavior. See, when I interview for behavior as well. I want to know that you're a good fit for the company, not just because you have great skill sets, but based on your personality. Because if you are going to work for a manager who is of a certain personality, and I can tell in the interview that you're not going to be able to work with that type of individual, it doesn't become a good fit, right? So I would say sometimes look at the personality, not just the skill set, to see if it's a good fit, so we can avoid those type of letters, right?
I like that. Thank you so much for today. It was amazing to speak with you, and we got some great tips as well, just in a few minutes time. That was amazing. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being with us today, Suzette, and see you again very soon.
Yes, and stay cool, okay? We'll talk again. Thank you so much for having me.